Duchenne Muscular Dystrophy affects around 1 in 3,500 male births.
Well, I was first diagnosed when I was about 1 or 2, and when I first found out about that, I was about 6. It was horrible, it was a complete shock, and I thought everything was just like over.
It is an X chromosome condition, which means that it mainly affects boys, although there are a very small number of girls affected.
I was diagnosed with Duchenne when I was 3 years old, so my parents got the diagnosis, but I didn't really know what was going on at that point. I was only 3 years old, so I just gradually learned that my muscles didn't work quite so well. So.
Duchenne is caused by a fault on the dystrophin gene, one of the largest genes in the body.
So I went to see this other doctor, and he said, just walk up and down the little aisle for me, and Adam walked up and down like he does his little waddle. He had a funny little waddle, and that's what I thought it was. And he said, I'm really sorry, but he's got Duchenne Muscular Dystrophy.
This fault prevents the body from making a protein that keeps our muscles stable.
When he was little, he was a real boy's boy, and he played football, and he went to judo, and he went and ran around and climbed trees, this sort of thing. And then, of course, as his Duchenne progressed, he could no longer do that, and he could no longer play with his friends, so he lost his friends.
Without this protein, the muscle cells in young people with Duchenne break down and are not replaced. Young people with Duchenne appear like everyone else at birth. However, they often learn to walk later, and as they grow up, will struggle to do things that their friends are able to do, such as running and jumping.
When they're younger, they might be a bit slower than their friends, but you wouldn't really notice they had anything that serious. But as they grow older, by the time they're about 10 or 11, they usually need to use a wheelchair.
The thing is with Duchenne, it's a gradual progression, so you're not usually 1 minute you're fine, next minute you're in a wheelchair. It's, very gradual.
Duchenne is a condition that is in many cases misunderstood or simply not known about. It impacts not only the children who have the condition, but their families as well.
So every day's a good day, really. I have to make it a good day, because otherwise I would be really sad every day.
This is their story. "20 years ago, young people with Duchenne would have died by the age of 19 from heart or respiratory failure. However, with the help of steroids, spinal surgery, cardiac monitoring and night ventilation, they are now living into their late 20s and 30s, and sometimes their 40s.
We are saying that we have expectations that these young men are going to be adults, and they have to be prepared to be adults as other disabled young people have always been.
This means that young people with Duchenne will be living into adulthood, and so families, parents, teachers and doctors need to be helping them plan their future, so they're able to live interesting and fulfilling lives in which they achieve their aspirations.
I used to take films of Adam as he did things, because I thought, he might die tomorrow, because that's what they told me. And he obviously didn't, because he's 13, nearly 14. And when he was about 5 years ago, I found Action Duchenne.
Action Duchenne was set up by parents in 2001. And the focus of the charity has always been about campaigning and fundraising for a cure or treatment.
We set Action Duchenne up in 2001. Really, a lot of everybody said to us, there'll never be a cure, you'll have to just wait and make the most of your child and go away and enjoy him, because we're never going to find a treatment. And actually, over the last 10 years, and I think thanks to the fantastic contribution of Action Duchenne and all the families who've worked with us, we have made a massive difference. We've fundraised, we've campaigned, we've been a really powerful presence.
In 2004, the families that Action Duchenne mobilised were instrumental in gaining funding from the government to support research into exon skipping. This research has led to clinical trials across the world.
Scientists are looking at different genetic mutations and how to fix them. So we're hoping that over the next, 5 to 10 years there should be treatments out there.
However, Action Duchenne's strategy has always been twofold. In order for children and young people to live better quality lives and be in the best possible position to benefit from a cure or treatment, they need to have the best standards of care, which means having access to neuromuscular centres of excellence where specialist teams can advise on the range of complex needs that arise in Duchenne, such as physiotherapy, cardiac monitoring, ventilation, use of steroids, as well as giving advice on educational and social issues.
We need them planning to go into college, we need them thinking about going to university, we need them being considered for apprenticeships, supported internships, real work experience opportunities.
Often the message that you can have a very good quality of life with Duchenne isn't necessarily getting passed down, and I would, from my own experience, I spent 9 years at university, eventually coming out with a PhD.
This has meant campaigning for improved access to medical and social care, as well as meeting learning and behaviour needs through a partnership with Decipher.
Really, if you got Duchenne, you find out that, and you find that you're going to die, you got to think, well, what do I want to do in my life? So because I needed a purpose, and the purpose was when I went to college to do design and stuff like that, and he gave me a purpose to what to live for.
In 2011, Action Duchenne and the Decipher team won the National Lottery Award for Best Education Project.
Good. But you've got the same problem as he does. Do it again.
Involved working with young people with Duchenne to tackle reading and behaviour problems that are often associated with the condition through specialist assessment, and an online intervention project that was delivered in partnership between school and home. Action Duchenne continues to meet these learning and behaviour needs through its ongoing partnership with Decipher, so that young people with Duchenne can attain the best life outcomes.
3, 4.
We can be talking to our young people about what it is they really want to do with their lives, and we can be having an expectation that they are going to be living into adulthood and that they are going to be independent young people.
With the new legislation for children and families, the aspirations for each young person with additional needs will be key to deciding how they live their lives.
What we're hoping to do in the Transition Project is really to explode some of the myths and get people thinking with amazing aspirations for the boys.
The scale of what's possible is just, well, I mean, I think it's beyond what I've done even. I think it's, it's a huge amount that is actually possible, and I think, it's really important that that message gets passed down to people who are in the darkest stages of just being diagnosed.
Takin Charge is a lottery-funded project for young people with Duchenne Muscular Dystrophy, aged 14 to 19 years, which supports the learning of skills important for adulthood. Through the project, young people with Duchenne are supported to think seriously about what they want to do in the future. The project also works with parents through a parallel Letting Go program, and with siblings through a program called What About Us?
I think Duchenne does affect the family very much. To know that you've got a young person who's got a disability, and then on top of that they've got a life-limiting condition is a lot to cope with, and it affects not only your relationship with your son who has Duchenne, but it can affect your relationship with your other children that you have, it can affect your relationship with your partner.
Helping and offering support to families means parents and siblings feel they have someone to talk to. They are not alone. The Takin Charge project is looking at advising on careers, housing and health, as well as how to achieve more independence in your life.
I've always made sure that, I follow what my aspirations are. in life. I mean, I guess I've never really had a long-term plan, but I'm not sure if that's just because of Duchenne, because that's probably the case for most young lads, to be honest. I did definitely follow what I wanted to do.
The project is also supported by the dedication of adults with Duchenne, who form the project's steering committee and facilitate and lead face-to-face workshops and events.
We need to put an emphasis on preparing the boys for having great futures, having productive futures.
You know, I'm hoping that the work that's being done in the Takin Charge Project really gives these young lads confidence to kind of pursue their dreams and get involved in more things.
The boys take part in workshops ranging from sex education
occurs in a relationship where people are partners already, either male or female, and one hurts the other.
To how to plan for the future.
We want to be making sure that we're taking all the right steps, that our young people are enabled to reach their dreams and their aspirations, and to make good career choices and live as independent adults.
Flash is a animation and design program. It's part of the Adobe suite.
The group take part in an animation workshop. The idea is to make an animation about Duchenne for younger children who have recently been diagnosed with the condition. The young people learn how to animate and draw and how to construct an animation. And who better to do it than the young people themselves?
I was talking to somebody whose boy was recently diagnosed. What I'd say is there is hope that when the child's first diagnosed, you're shattered. You think the world's at an end and that you can't live your life. But what you've got to do is live a different life. It's not the life that you originally thought you were going to have for your child, but it's still a life full of happiness and a life where they can achieve and your son can be happy.
It's a bad disorder, but it's not as bad as you actually think it is. You can get on and do what you need to do and have fun and instead have purposes in life. It's not about quantity, it's about quality.
Taking Charge is about supporting young people and their families to go out and have full lives whilst having Duchenne. We hope to see people with Duchenne increasingly in education, training, employment, and living full, independent lives. This project is about supporting long-term change within the Duchenne community and wider society, and raising expectations that all young people living with Duchenne can see their aspirations realized. It's about taking charge.
Of course I wish that I didn't have Duchenne, but that's also tempered by the fact my life would be very different, and you know, there's things that I've done that I'm really kind of proud of and glad to have done, which I wouldn't necessarily have done if I didn't have these challenges to overcome to strengthen my character, really.